Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English, episode number. I did not check that before I looked, so apologies for that. Now, we do have a different type of episode today, okay? But I'm not going to tell you what type of episode. I'm just going to jump straight in with a story, then everything will be clear. And I think this is a bloody good story, okay? The only thing you need to know about this story is the word peasant, okay? Now, a peasant is, let's say, a poor person. Luckily, this word is not really used anymore, but I've just got a definition here, which is quite long and boring. But basically, in the past, it was a man, usually, that had a small piece of land, kept animals, grew crops. But most importantly, didn't have much money and didn't have much of an education and had a very low social position. Okay, that is a peasant, and that is what you need to know for this story. So, are you ready for the story? Let's go. Once upon a time, there was a very kind king who decided to test his people. He asked his men to place a very big stone in the middle of the roadway. Then the king hid behind some bushes to see what would happen next. Many of the richest people in the city passed by and simply walked around the stone. They complained about the king not keeping the roads clear, but none of them did anything to remove the stone. A few hours later, a peasant came by carrying vegetables. When he saw the stone, he laid down his heavy sack of vegetables and tried to push the stone out of the way. It was difficult, but after much effort, he finally managed to move the stone. When the peasant went back to pick up his vegetables, he noticed a bag lying where the stone had been. Inside the bag were many gold coins and a note from the king. The note explained that the gold was for the person who removed the stone from the road. Now, I think the story was quite easy to understand the words, but you are probably asking yourself, why the hell is Martin telling me this story? Now, before I do, I just want to tell you the moral of the story in case you haven't worked it out, because I am a bit of an idiot and I have just read this from a book that I have, where luckily at the end it says moral of the story for idiots like me that can't properly work it out, okay? So the moral of the story is that every obstacle we encounter presents an opportunity to improve our circumstances. There are two types of people: those who see problems, complain and do nothing, and those who take action to solve the problem and create opportunities. It's up to you to decide which type of person you want to be. Okay, now this is the part where I'm going to tell you why I'm telling you this story, because this week I have been texting all of my friends trying to record a podcast with them. I've texted Mental Marky Mark, Corporal Coma, The Hellraiser, Boom Boom Cannon, Champagne Shah, Clarification Charlie, everyone. But they have all been busy and I have been sweating and thinking, oh my God, the world is going to end. But then I realized that I was one of the people complaining, doing nothing, okay? Now I have decided to be the peasant that moves the boulder, okay? The person that takes actions and solves the problems and creates opportunities for themselves, okay? So I have decided to turn this bad thing of no normal podcast into an opportunity, into something good, an opportunity for me and an opportunity for you. So I am going to tell you about that today. And another reason I have come to this conclusion, let's say, is because someone I know recently discovered my podcast. And she is not English, so I said, have a listen, you might like it. I'm sure you'll learn something. And she listened to it and said, oh, it's great. I really, really like it. But where are you actually teaching people? Is it just a podcast? Because It's great listening to you and your friends having a laugh. It's really funny. But where do you actually teach? And this kind of scared me a bit because I said, well, there is the vocabulary at the end, I thought. But then I thought, maybe she is right. Maybe I need to do a little bit more of the actual, teaching stuff, obviously in an R&R way. Now, I know that some people just listen for a laugh, and that's great. There are lots of laughs on this podcast. In fact, the last podcast with the Hellraiser, in my opinion, is one of the best podcasts we've ever had. When the Hellraiser and I were in a car, I listened back to that and I thought, that is a great podcast. And there will continue to be lots of these podcasts. That is what Rock and Roll English is. That is the heart and soul of this podcast. However, every now and again, I'm going to do something where I can actually help people learn, okay? Like proper learning. Sounds strange, doesn't it, coming from a teacher? But of course, I'm going to do that in an R&R way. So I thought about the best things that I have done with Rock and Roll English, the ways that I have helped people the most, where I have seen the most learning. And in my opinion, from the feedback I have received, it is from my free challenge, Vocab for Lazy People. Okay, if you haven't done it, I will talk to you about that another time, because that is not what I'm here to talk to you about, okay? Because that challenge has helped lots and lots of people. So basically, I have decided to do another challenge, a different challenge. Now, I don't want to talk about the challenge today. I'm actually going to tell you about it tomorrow. I just want to tell you today that a new challenge is coming, okay? And just like the Vocab for Lazy People challenge, it will be easy to do, designed for lazy people, and it will be free, okay? So make sure you check your podcasts and emails tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.